want to get through. So with episode 1, the very first topic that we gonna discuss is R&B dead? And if you haven't been on Instagram or Twitter lately, is R&B dead has been a popular question for maybe the past 2 days, a day, 2 days, 3 days. I don't really remember when the original tweet was upped, but P. Diddy posted on Twitter the other day, who killed R&B? And of course, when somebody like P. Diddy, who is one of the most well-renowned music moguls, period, not just talking about rap music, not talking about black music, but music, period, one of the most well-renowned music moguls goes on Twitter and says, who killed R&B? That's gonna stir up some controversy, right? And that's rightfully so. I mean, if I'm an R&B singer, you know, if I'm a Mary J. Blige, she commented. If I'm a Chris Brown, we'll get these comments later. A Jacquees, a Ty Dolla $ign. If I'm any R&B singer, I'm gonna be out here wondering, like, what you mean, who killed R&B? Like, I'm singing R&B right now. Like, how was R&B dead if I'm singing R&B, she's singing R&B, that group over there doing R&B, people still waiting on this R&B artist to drop music? Like, how was R&B dead? But of course, when you ask something like that, a lot of people are gonna agree, especially your older folks. Now, the idea to me, bro, of R&B being dead is really just the same thing that we see with rap music over and over and over again, especially like ever since Nas said hip hop was dead, you know, over 2 decades ago. It's what happens when one version of the music it goes through its time and then it evolves into a new era of the sound, right? So with R&B music, the biggest complaint that we hear is like, oh, with R&B music, you never hear singers talking about how much they love a woman. You never hear women talking about how much they love a men. R&B music nowadays is all toxic and how to get over on one another and all that kind of stuff, right? It's the same thing with how they talk about rap music, where they say, you know, rap music used to be lyrical when you used to have to be called a rapping and it was all positive and black power. Nowadays, all the rappers, they just want to commit drills on each other and they just want to, you know, get in the mic and just say whatever and think it's going to blow. You know what I'm saying? It's the same complaints. It's just they apply it to R&B music. If you asking me, bro, a 22-year-old, R&B is more alive than it ever has been. And of course, that's from my 22-year-old perspective. I was born in 2000. I wasn't born in 85. I wasn't born in 65. I wasn't born in 95. I was born in the year 2000. The reason I say, for me, that R&B is more alive than it ever has been is because we have more subgenres and much more diversity than I can ever see in the past years and past eras of R&B. You feel me? Excuse me. Like, nowadays, bro, we have R&B for every vibe that you could possibly be looking for. You got lovey-dovey R&B. You got solo dolo R&B. You got the love yourself R&B. You have the I hate myself R&B. You got the toxic relationship R&B. You got R&B for every idea that you could possibly think of that they could make R&B for. You even got, I mean, it's deep in the cut, but you even got drill R&B, you know, where dudes get on the mic singing, you know, talking that gangster shit. And I think all of that is cool. So I understand why a lot of the older heads say things like R&B is dead, because it's not what it used to be. And it shouldn't be what it used to be. You know, art is art for a reason. Art evolves over time, constantly. Art is constantly changing. It's no different than when it comes to paintings or when it comes to sculptures, you know, when that's the type of art that people consider. Those things change over time as well. Like, you can literally go on your computer and look up the different eras of painting, and you'll have Dadaism, minimalism, postmodernism, all that type of stuff. With literature, you got things like Shakespeareanism, all these types of things where all these different forms of art are going to evolve. So it's no different than rap. It's no different with R&B. R&B is going to evolve and change over time. That's just how it is. So, of course, the R&B we got in 2022 is not the same as it was in 2012, which wasn't the same as it was in 2002, which wasn't the same as it was in 1992. It's just changed now. Although what I will give them credit for is saying that the type of R&B that's pushed and marketed does lean more towards that toxic relationship, or, you know, the love yourself because I don't want to love nobody else vibe. That is what's getting marketed more and more. And I'm going to read a statement that Chris Brown said about replying to P. Diddy when he asked his R&B dead. So Chris Brown went on the gram and said, when's the last time you heard a slow song on the radio? You know, niggas saying R&B is dead. Respectfully, shut up. People nowadays want fast food instead of a real meal. Don't blame the real singers out here because what channels do... I read that all wrong. Punctuation is important, people. He said, what channels do people have to see music videos? BET damn sure don't. BET damn sure don't. Neither does MTV. And in the industry be forcing shit on the people when the real music lovers know that shit is garbage. That was rough to read with no commas. I apologize for the stuttering. But, you know, I agree with Chris Brown on that point. Certain music does get pushed for certain reasons. I'm not a music executive. I'm not a billionaire who can fund Sony and pay millions to billions of dollars to fund 100 different artists' music. But from the outside looking in, you know, we can see that certain music does get pushed. So it's true that there is, you know, some of a lack of real singers, whatever that means, in the scene. But we still do have the real singers. You feel me? I consider Chris Brown a real singer. I would consider Summer Walker a real singer, even though a lot of dudes don't prefer the type of R&B that she makes, which she ain't making R&B for you dudes anyway. I love her music personally, though. Like, her first EP is one of my favorite R&B tapes of all time, and that could be a whole story time that I could go into, but I ain't gonna do that. But it's plenty of real singers out here. It's just that you have to look for them. You do have to look for them, and that's what a lot of the older heads don't want to do, is actually look for what they're looking for. Instead, they'll know what they're looking for. They won't hear it on the radio. They won't hear it through the mainstream, and they'll just say it doesn't exist, or they'll just say that the music genre died, when really all you got to do is go on your Spotify, Apple Music, go on YouTube. It's not hard to find real singers. It's not hard to find lovey-dovey R&B. It's not hard to find none of that. You know what I'm saying? Even Lucky Day, for example, Lucky Day makes hella lovey-dovey music. And Lucky Day is probably my favorite male R&B artist right now. He make a lot of lovey-dovey music, bro. Like, Lucky Day don't make toxic music. For real, for real. Let me turn my light up because it's dark as hell now. And I'm not going to edit that out either. I'm keeping everything one take Jake. But like I was talking about, Lucky Day is my favorite male R&B artist out right now. And he makes that lovey-dovey, you want to get with a girl and just chill under the covers and listen to the album type music, or get in the car with your girl and just vibe out on the ride type music. He does that. On the other hand of the spectrum, you got your Brent Faiyazes, who, you know, that's like, I wouldn't say he's like the future of R&B, like a toxic king, whatever dudes like to say, but Brent Faiyaz makes some crazy, non-desirable situation R&B music. Like, I listened to Brent Faiyaz's new album. I loved it, bro. But I would never want to be in situations like that. You know what I'm saying? It was very great musically. It had a clear beginning, middle, and end. It flowed. It was cohesive. But I would never want to be in a situation like Brent Faiyaz be singing about. I just wouldn't want to do it because it's crazy. It's toxic. It don't sound happy. It sound messed up. But people make that kind of music because people in real life experience those things. Brent Faiyaz has probably experienced some of those things. Now, does he maybe embellish some of the stuff for the sake of entertainment? Maybe, or maybe not. Maybe all of the things that he sing about is factual and real. We never know. But the whole purpose of art, especially things like music, is to reflect the times. You know, music reflects what's going on outside, at least for black music. I can't speak on other groups of music, but when it comes to black music reflects what's going on outside in the streets. And so that whole little toxic vibe that's going on, that came up because that's what's happening outside. You know, people experience that on the streets, and some of those people could sing. So then they was like, damn, I'm gonna express my pain with a pen and paper and get in a mic and sing my heart out. You feel me? That's just how it goes. Whereas, you know, somebody like Lucky Day might have had better experiences with love and relationships. Or somebody like SZA, she doesn't do a whole lot of relationship songs. You know, we had I Hate You. That's a clear, like, quote unquote toxic relationship song. But for example, Control, like, her album Control is another one of my favorite R&B tapes of all time. That's a really, like, love yourself, do for self. I love myself. I go through times where I feel insecure, but I come back to feel myself again type of album. You know what I'm saying? You could even call it a coming of age album because there are some Low Points, where she talks about having low self-esteem and all that kind of stuff, or The Weekend, where she talking about basically being a weekend fling for a dude. But that album is not predicated on toxic relationship music. That's really just a lot of vibe out music. And then when you really dig into it, there's a myriad of different topics in there. Relationships, loving yourself, being insecure about yourself, you know, from the perspective of a woman, of course. But R&B ain't dead, bro. That's just an old head statement. R&B is not what it once used to be, and that's how it should be. Like if R&B stayed the same forever, it wouldn't grow. It wouldn't get nowhere. It wouldn't. People would stop listening to R&B eventually if it just never changed and it never grew. You feel me? That's why I was saying we have the most diverse scene of R&B that I could ever look in the past and be like, nah, the past this wasn't as diverse as we got today. So that means there's more R&B fans in there everywhere. And so to me, that means that the genre is more alive than it ever has been. When you got more people listening, you got more artists in the genre, you got more diversity in the genre, more skill in the genre. How can you say it's dead? That just don't make sense to me. But I could talk about that for hours. Something else I want to talk about